Okay, is it up? It is up. Hello
We
and
live? All
well,
right, cool.
hello and welcome to the Urcast, the first episode of the unofficial Urbit podcast. I'm Krator, and that's Anton, who's
Anton.
also Anton Rabfell Hobmet.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing though because I have winter dapsum. It's like I guess that's
Well,
the Urbit culture.
Winder Dapsum is now exclusively hosting Urchan.
This is true. It's true.
So today, I have to go to the correct tab.
So what the
Today we're
fuck
gonna
is Urbit?
today we're gonna discuss what the fuck is Urbit, and we'll cover some updates and new groups that are on the block. So
Yeah,
there
I also
was.
wanted to go over some standout groups. I took some notes of some just like longtime favorites.
Oh, so there actually was notes.
There was. There were
Oh,
some secret notes.
he was just telling me before he came on here that he wasn't prepared at all.
Well, I said I wasn't that prepared, but I also told you before that if there were notes, that they would have to be gathered up. They would be scattered.
Oh, I don't know. But you can take notes right on Urbit.
Yeah, exactly. I should have. I need to take more advantage of the note taking and keeping the private information. All the stuff I
You
do is in groups.
well you actually can do it on your phone too. It really is that easy. Well, it's not that easy because of Markdown. Typing Markdown on your phone is not fun.
Yeah, so really we got to start from square one. What is Urbit to someone who doesn't understand Urbit? Is it an application? Is it software?
Well, the group Talon who makes Urbit calls it an operating system.
It really is. It's almost like a operating system that's in the cloud. I mean, I don't completely understand it, but that's kind of how I think about it. You know, if I could access my operating system from anywhere, that's
Urbit,
what I love about it. Like I can hop on my phone and access, and I'm where I left off on my computer, and then I go to my work computer and I access where I left off from my home computer.
it is that you hook it up to a domain name and you can access it from anywhere, even on your phone. It works great on the phone too.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I wasn't using it all that much until I figured out how to use it on the phone. Just because on the computer was, here and there, but I'm on my phone a lot. You're not as much, but I mean, my phone is almost a tablet or like a laptop that I use on the go all the time.
I do hop on there on my phone. I use it a little more, but yeah, I'm just not. I don't know if I'm out. I'm usually out with somebody, so I'm typically talking to
Yeah, I guess I'm rude
them.
because I'm usually out with people. But I mean, I don't take out my phone. I'm not that rude. I'm not the person who, when you're talking to them, they take out their phone. But I have a
who's
lot of
staring like
downtime,
who's
like
staring like
five
that the
minutes.
whole time.
No, no. Well, because I'll go run an errand and maybe I'll run in the store and my wife and kid won't. And while I'm waiting in line, I'll take out my phone, and it's nice to be able to use Urbit. I don't have social media, so if there's a second on my phone, I'm usually checking
Yeah,
crypto or news, or if it's something social related, it's Urbit.
but I think the biggest attraction for us at first, once we actually got on there, was that you have to buy your identity and host it yourself. So your identity and everything about it is actually yours and under your control. There isn't
Yeah.
any. There's no social media company behind it that is making you the product and selling your information.
Well, it makes it kind of confusing because you have to do a lot of setup at first that tech companies would do for you. Set up the image hosting and just the spaces in general. It seems like that's a barrier for some people because they get an app and they think, why can't I upload everything to it? But they don't think about, and I didn't think about, I was even a Parler user, and I didn't think about where are these pictures I'm uploading going? Who does someone have access to them? Are they getting deleted? What's going on with these pictures? If I want to reference them later, where are they stored? But then getting Urbit and having to set it up myself, I realized, those pictures, they're somewhere.
Yeah,
So
you can hook up a bucket or a space. It's called a space on DigitalOcean. But you can once you set that up, all the pictures are under your control too. Everything you upload.
yeah, and then you can branch off onto some interesting things. I know I'm obsessed with the QR codes off my links, but I mean, just having the links to go back and reference later, and just look at your space and see the different stuff you've uploaded. It's kind of fun. You can organize it,
Well, and the nice
keep
thing
it
is,
nice and fancy.
if you delete a picture, it's actually deleted.
Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, and it's interesting because you start thinking differently about how just the internet and communication infrastructure works. Because when I used to post a link, I never thought about what it was. But now I understand that that link goes to somewhere. If the picture is deleted, it's gone. So I don't link to other people's. I used to go to Google Images and just find whatever and link to that
Oh,
picture. And now I understand like that picture could go away and then your link breaks. So all my stuff's uploaded to my space. And yeah, so then it builds upon the idea of taking ownership over your digital identity. I don't do something that's not for my digital identity.
that's it. That's exactly true. Um, something that is very related to it. I stuck it in our notes. Is that Google group question that somebody asked? They actually
Oh, the
asked,
long form one, the PJ. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, what is this? He was pointing out that Urbit seems like it's many different things, and when you hop on it right now, it's not fulfilling all of the promises yet. Obviously, because it's so new. Because currently, right now, what Urbit is, it has the chatting, has the chats, and it has the blog type posts with the notebooks.
Yeah. Well, it gets confusing because you'll talk to people about what Urbit is, and yeah, everybody's talking about what Urbit will be. So it's almost confusing what Urbit is now. I saw a good analogy where someone said Urbit is a speed run of the internet, and right now we're at email.
Yeah,
So obviously it's not going to be YouTube of 2021. But if you think back to when email was first coming out, this is a pretty good version of that, and everything is more, just someone who understands systems can perfect it as it goes on. So you think of the last 20, 25 years of the internet, there's a lot that could be simplified and made better. So,
the biggest thing that attracted me to Urbit is when I read that what they're trying to do is actually rebuild the internet from scratch. Because the internet is, well, at this point, it is very old. It's based on technology from, I think, the 70s still. So the basic structure of the internet is being built on top of that old technology.
yeah, the
And then
technology,
Urbit,
but also the way that the internet worked, just the idea of the internet, it seems like it's almost an LA freeway that was never planned out. It just kept adding more and more to it because the integration on, you go on Facebook, there's all these different PHP, whatever. I'm not a web developer, so I don't know, but a lot of the times all these different things break because they weren't planned to be together. So to simplify that and plan from scratch. And then you think back of the early internet days, we were all building Angel Fires, and I don't even remember what the other ones were, but we had our own websites and they were very simple. So, Urbit's going to be simple early on, but some of the projects aren't simple. The UCal and the calendar application that someone's building in Urbit. Some of these forks going on are very developed and very far along. The Bitcoin as well.
there is currently chess. You can officially play chess on Urbit.
Can you? I haven't
Yeah.
played it. I knew that they were coming out, but I didn't know you can
Oh,
officially play.
yeah. If you go into the board game group, they have it set up.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not sure if it's official, but it is very far along. But with the regular internet, it's plugins on top of plugins. Like there's CSS, there's HTML under that. Then you have HTML5. Well, Flash is gone now, but that was around for a long, long time.
I loved Flash. That was Flash was the best. There was did they really get rid of Flash just because you couldn't have tags and everything in it?
It wasn't. I don't think it was that. It was. It was so old. It was insecure.
Oh, yeah.
But personally, because I know Adobe and Adobe had Flash for a long time, they came out with Adobe Animator, which was
Oh.
their own animation. Which I think that was the reason, but it wasn't secure. I guess they say.
Well, they just used to, in the early internet, have a bunch of stick figure fighting videos in Flash, and those
I
are the
remember
best.
those. Yeah. Well, you just go
Yeah,
on Newgrounds and
yeah.
Newgrounds preserved. Newgrounds preserved a bunch of Flash games, though.
Did they? Oh, I
They
should
did.
check them out.
They have a plugin to use to play them. So next, is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's good. But, speaking of comments, that kind of brings us to the infrastructure of how they did the change to the comment structure, where you can link.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you can
Sorry,
link.
my
You
cat
can
just
link
ran
to
by.
the. I can make a note of that. But you're able to link to a post or a chat message from anywhere now in Urbit.
Yeah, is that something that you can show? Can you show that on your screen right now? Just because it's a little bit hard to understand, but when you visually see that you can link it and what the
I
link looks like.
I can do it. I actually have a chat where I DM myself for testing stuff.
Yeah, you don't ever want to embarrass yourself in the public Urbit group. Sometimes it's important to chat yourself.
Well, I don't know if other people would want me showing their messages or not. You know what I mean?
Oh, true. Well, everything that's in the Urbit community, I feel like is free game.
I suppose so. That's just what I think, though. How's that? Will that show up? Oh, it does. Okay, good. I'll pull up the window. You can see it. I linked to you eating tons of carrots, but I
Uh,
also but I also show how you can link to notebooks, and you just click on the go to link, and it will take you directly to the post.
yeah, and what's so beautiful about that is it takes you directly to the authentic post. I mean, it's stupid to make the analogy to NFTs because it's a comment and it's not that important. But it seems like what's being this big push towards is the authentication. That the same thing with the NFTs that this is legitimately this digital asset. It seems like Urbit is very much tied into that, where when you reference a post, it's not like the old internet where someone would take a screenshot and post it and nobody knows where that came from. Now it's completely back to the original source. Everybody can requote it, but the original author of that comment, it could even be, or it could be a post, it could be a notebook, it could be anything, but the original person gets the credit for it, whatever that means. I mean, maybe one day that would have Bitcoin implications, but even just for because I'm thinking if you take photos and someone reposts it, you would probably want some credit for that. So it seems like they're building the groundwork for some more complicated stuff that could come later.
Well, so some people will say that you could already do that kind of thing on Twitter with retweets.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem with Twitter is you're tied to that community, so you're just on Twitter. I mean, to me, Urbit's so much more than that. And that kind of ties into something that I wanted to say. I was telling you before, my friend, the way that I explain Urbit to him is early on in the internet. If you had set up Reddit, you built this website, and it wasn't that big, but it slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as you moved around the internet, your identity was Reddit. So when you made a YouTube account, not that there was some clout that came with it, but that there was some credit and some rapport that came with it, that I'm not just some random person. I'm the person who made Reddit. And that can help with all sorts. I mean, you start a YouTube account, if they knew that you were the creator of Reddit, you probably wouldn't have to go through the early partner program. Or I'm thinking with Twitch, you probably wouldn't have to go through the affiliate program. So there's all sorts of implications there for you building up your identity that's tied to a planet, tied to a star, tied to some urban identity, and you down the road having some way of not necessarily monetizing it, but a way of profiting in your life off it, even if it's just from bartering.
That's a great way to put it. Um, the the internet as it is very it's rather disconnected from each other. We always talk about how fast information moves, but all these websites are they're very separated, to put it simply. But on Urbit, it's all going to be brought together and connected into each other's groups,
Yeah, I mean, I
and
saw
that's
someone post a. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but I saw someone post a comment on YouTube about getting their personal, like, YouTube account banned, which was linked to their Gmail that they had used for everything, for making their resumes on Google Docs, that they had used for applying for jobs. All their friends, every website had this email address, and because they posted something spicy on YouTube, they got it banned, and just everything was gone. And obviously that's an extreme example, but you start to think of all your eggs in one basket with these different companies. Maybe it's not even you getting banned, it's just you deciding you no longer want to use Twitter. You want to go to the next platform and you lose everything.
well, I do
Why
remember
would you do
that
that?
it was a developer of a video game. I can't remember which one. They got yeah they got their well maybe this is a different case because they didn't post anything spicy, but Google just banned them for whatever reason. It might have been an accident, but they lost access to their calendars, Google Voice, everything that they were using to connect with the rest of their team to work on the video game.
Yeah. Well, you take it for granted, these apps that you use, because you think, oh, there's no way I'm going to be banned. But I mean, even by extension of Google, I use my Google to log into a lot of apps that I use. So, I mean, I'm not positive, but I would assume if I was banned from Google and I tried logging into these apps, I I wouldn't be able to. So it starts you thinking down this line of how much of my digital identity do I really control? Or do I just go to these companies that give me some access while I play by their rules? And then on Urbit, it takes back that where you can, install whatever you want. Everything's always going to be yours. And if you get banned from one community, whatever, you just can't post in that community. You go on to the next one. You still have everything. You don't lose anything. I
Yeah,
think by now everyone spends so much of their time online, they can understand wanting to have one solid online identity.
yeah, you can be kicked out of a group, but you can't be you're not going to lose all of your access to your identity and your data and everything else.
Yeah, you cannot be banned from Urbit. It's not possible. You could get kicked out of your system, but I mean, as long as you found another, which is completely different. I mean, if you got kicked off of Twitter, the idea that you could go to Parler and they could welcome you in and you wouldn't lose anything. I mean, everyone would like that.
Yeah, well, currently, after you're kicked out of Twitter or a mainstream place, you're basically regulated to a ghetto somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and not everybody's had that experience, but I mean, for some of us that are more outspoken, um, we've been banned a bunch, and you can when you're banned, it feels like you're wandering around, just lost, and you're trying to find the next place to go in, and then when you start, you start from square one, you start from scratch. So, Urbit is really appealing to anyone who's been a sojourner online, who's been looking at different communities and who wants to start their own community but doesn't want to build it on the platform that they don't agree with. I wouldn't want to start a big community on Twitter or Discord or something. They'd probably ban me anyway.
So we could, so since we're talking about the systems, we could explain the structure of Urbit. That's probably one of its most unique things, is you got the, well, at the top is galaxies, then stars, then planets.
And
But
comments, you have to include our comment brethren.
or comet, or comets, yes.
Yeah,
But
well, and moons. But yeah, so I guess for the average person, they'd probably start with a comet, just because a comet's an anonymous, disposable identity that you can mine for free.
we
So
did.
no skin in the game. Yeah, we did. You have to, really. I, I don't understand the people who start with a planet. I mean, they probably have a vision that I didn't. I didn't understand it until I was using it for a few weeks as a comet.
Well, either that or they knew somebody who could give it to them.
Yeah, it just has to be explained slowly. If you try to tell someone all at once, it
It's very
seems like
confusing.
people quickly naysay with there's a better option for that one thing. If you tell someone it's a social app, why not use this other social app? And if you tell them it's, Google Docs, why not use so it's
Oh,
hard
I
to tell
try.
them.
I always explain that it's working to rebuild the internet with a better base of technology. That is the ultimate goal of it, I believe.
Yeah, and to simplify. That's another thing I guess we haven't talked about, but their emphasis on simple and calm is something that, I mean, we really need more of in this world. I feel like there was a push for things to get so complicated, and this is the pushback on that, to simplify things. Things don't need to have a million pop-ups, and you don't have to have 1,000 different things on your screen. You can just have the few things that you want and try to, keep your life a little bit more stress-free.
Rather than having a million distractions. If you just
Yeah,
hop
and
on
which
YouTube, it works to distract you.
Yeah, and it seems like urban in general is the counter to what's going on elsewhere. Elsewhere is all about pop-ups and clickbait and keeping you distracted, and Urbit is about freeing you from those and letting you do the things that you wanted to do, and then giving you back the rest of your time. I don't spend a lot of time scrolling through Urbit mindlessly. I do spend some time when I want to catch up on the news, mindlessly scrolling through that news, but I decide beforehand, maybe 30 minutes on the news. Whereas, back with Facebook, maybe you do an hour of scrolling without even thinking of why you had opened it.
That does make a lot of sense. I actually have been more focused since I started using Urbit more.
Yeah, well, when there's less stuff to distract you, you start thinking, what is it that I really want to do? So I started opening up project notebooks and thinking of what projects are we working on. So, like you did with this show, it keeps you more focused. You're on the normal internet. What are you going to do? YouTube or go to Google News or go, waste some time?
So, going back to the hierarchy and the structure of the network, do you have an opinion on it? Do you think it's better? Because you got galaxies at the top, which then you got
Well,
stars,
yeah, you
then you
got
got
stars
planets.
and then planets. I'll be honest, I don't understand the difference between the galaxies and stars. I know stars are, you said similar to DNS, that they're keeping like names and routing that information and in
Well,
such that
well,
they can give
well, stars
like
top
software.
Galaxies, well, I'll start for the viewers. Galaxies are at the top. And it's mostly developers right now who have galaxies. There's only, was it 56 of them, I believe? The galaxies issue the updates. It's over the air updates that come out. And then it goes down to stars. Then the stars send it out to planets. It works to take load off any one point.
Yeah, well, I like that a lot. Anything that's decentralized is going to make it so that you can't take it down by one single point, but also that I mean, I feel like there was a big push 10 years ago for open source because we wanted it to not be controlled by corporations. And to take that one step further, we don't want it to be controlled by people either. So you
Yeah.
decentralize it and no one person can ruin it.
So when people talk about getting banned off stuff, in this case, so like a galaxy, well, I'm nildys, so I'm under the disk galaxy. So disk could cut me off, but I could move to another galaxy.
And
So that's how
similarly,
you
as a
can.
planet, because I had a planet issued by you, by your star, you could cut me off.
I could.
Probably won't, but you could.
No, I won't. I
And
could.
then I'd have to move to another star.
You could go somewhere else. It's, but you do keep all of your data.
Everything.
You keep
Nothing would be
everything.
lost
So
other
it's
than
this.
some good times.
So yeah. So it's more like being blocked by a single person than being banned from an entire website.
And it does involve you having to do some work. I guess you would theoretically have to reach out to a star. But I mean, at this point, and I'm not even a year in, you know of a few stars where something,
I do.
I know, and similarly with you, I feel like if you ran into a situation with your galaxy, I mean, you would just need to
To
communicate
move
that.
in. I'm actually not even aware if this is on the Urbit network. They seem to be selling
Probably.
they seem to be selling a lot of stars, but I haven't seen them around.
I mean, they're
I know
probably
anything about
just
them.
counting money right now.
They're making bank. But Urbit is different things to different people. That's why I think the idea of the operating system explains it better.
Yeah, do you want to read the Hope Redux post? It's
Yeah,
kind
we'll
of
move on to
long.
that next. Yeah, Somheb Rigdux, which I will say shout out to them because they did open up a group not long ago called Post Apathy, and they do run a blog called Post Apathy of the same name. Are you in that group?
I don't think so.
Yeah, the group does a lot of they mostly currently discuss the future of Urbit and how to build it up.
Oh, you know what? I
All
think I
through
did see
Post.
that on Urbit Index.
Yeah, yeah, it was launched last week, I think.
Yeah, I remember
But
seeing it. I didn't join it. Sometimes when I see them on my phone, because the link isn't right there, I just get so lazy. But let me do that right now.
so I'll read off their post. They have a great, I think they have a great idea of the future of Urbit. They were called Hope Redux here. They actually go by Ahmed now for a name. They say Urbit is fundamentally about producing joy through one, its philosophy of calm computing, and two, its practical application of being native to Web3 technologies. Eschewing the awkwardness of today's Web 2 apps that bridge into Web 3 in annoying ways. In addition to the possibilities of seamless connectivity and integration between apps built on top of Urbit. For instance, computing is annoying today because of the perverse incentives of SaaS industry. We don't own our apps don't talk to each other, and we're spending lots of time trying to fix the technicalities of integrating various apps together for a streamlined work system when the back end of that should have happened already. Due to the public goods problem, outlined by Villatek in a recent essay, every app equals a company, and every company is a business that is siloed from other apps. This means Substack and Roam and Notion and Twitter, as an example, don't communicate. To keep users, there is every incentive to bloat by continually adding features. And here is where Urbit comes in. None of these apps need to go into feature overload. By building the right incentive system through governance and market, they can all have Urbit native clones that accomplish the absolute core functions of all the fluff added on top. Which you were talking about that earlier. How every website gets bloated because they're trying to. I don't know. I mean, do you think people would stop using it if they didn't keep adding features?
I mean, kind of. I think it's something that happens over time with any business. They continue to hyper focus on the individualized processes that they have and trying to accomplish them, and they're not looking at the overarching structure of the system. So, Facebook is trying to get people to use this one app that they have or use this one feature, and they're focusing on the feature, when really they should probably just do a full redesign, simplify, get rid of a bunch of the crap that they have. But they would get that uncle from Kansas who's pissed that his, Farmville, doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, we do have this. We're talking about the other day the hybridization of everything. Like our phone is supposed to do everything, right? You say you use your phone for a lot of stuff. It can't just be a phone anymore. It has to.
True.
It basically it's trying to be a computer in your pocket.
Well, that's even true with the smartwatches. A lot of the smartwatches are also a phone. It's like, what's the point of that?
But it does make it more complicated, and if any one thing breaks down, the whole system is broken. Is useless.
Yeah, well, when they talk about them being, siloed from each other, I mean, yes, that's the problem exactly. There's no communication between them. It's almost like the internet is like a highway and nobody is patrolling it. And with Urbit, that system is all under control, and tons of things can go through it. Trucks, all sorts of different things can go through it. But right now it's chaos. Substack's doing a decent job. I'm not going to talk badly about them, but Twitter.
So to continue, because Urbit allows seamless communication between all its apps, this means its clones all communicate with each other. It is open source. Anybody can build it on it. The fundamental structure of SaaS is upended. You can no longer try to blitz scale individual pieces of software that last 5 to 10 years max before disappearing into the ether, by which time the VCs are long gone with their money after hyping up the next FAMAG. That's the word. Do you know that acronym? Because I don't.
No idea.
FAAMG. But it's instead every app becomes a modular piece of your Urbit machine. So I think Urbit markets the back end as being naturally integrative and seamless, and the front end through building a really good market system, governance design, and user experience philosophy, each compounding the benefit of the other to put Urbit leagues ahead of other software today. But the governing aspect goes back to the structure of galaxies, stars, and planets.
Well, but that's what happens when you plan things out, and that's what I was talking about with the internet being so unplanned. It allowed so much horrible chaos to build. Now they're starting seamlessly with an emphasis on calm. And I wish I knew what the next FAAMG meant.
I can always search it.
There's no way. That's going to be some technical term.
It's an abbreviation coined by Goldman Sachs for the 5 top performing tech stocks in the market:
Oh,
Facebook,
okay.
Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet's Google.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. So they're looking
yeah,
for the next. Yeah, okay.
they hype up the next piece of software and then abandon it later.
Well, that happens all the time. There's so many apps that have come and gone that nobody
Google is
uses
amazing
anymore.
for it. There's actually a huge list of hundreds and hundreds of things Google hyped up and then left behind.
I used to, I can't even remember. There was one feature of Google that I couldn't believe that they were losing, and I guess now it's not that important.
Well, they've had a lot of things. I don't know which particular one you're thinking of, but they have a lot of things. They had their Facebook thing. I forget what it was called. Google Plus.
Yeah, I never used Google Plus.
I never did, but that's the one I think of when I abandon something. I mean, they hyped it up so much and then nothing.
Yeah, I can't remember. I honestly hate Google so much. It probably just blocked it out of my memory.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about the structure
Um,
or what it is?
no, no, we can talk about all the upgrades because the upgrades and the updates. I feel like provide a good indication of where they're going and what their direction is.
I could I could show people a quick demo of what Urbit looks like.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is the landscape. This is the front end of Urbit. Currently, it's not much to look at. It tells you the weather though, and when sunset and sun rises for you.
You don't have a picture in your background?
I find that just it makes everything too busy. I'm trying to stay calm.
Yeah, that's true. I have a pretty calm picture.
Yeah, I might design something someday. Well, if you
Yeah,
use the
that's
dark
really
theme,
the dark theme. Yeah, I use the dark theme too. It's really nice.
but I'll show it off.
Although, have you been having trouble seeing notifications? Like seeing which, click on the portico for example.
There is notifications.
Okay,
They
you're only
change.
in one.
I'm only in one group. I'll hop into
Okay.
my group. But
Yeah, and see if you can.
the contrast, the contrast isn't the same. Remember, like the sidebar, it's all pretty bold now.
Yeah.
There used to be a bigger difference.
Yeah, well, they do a lot of changes so fast. Sometimes, something comes and goes.
That's how it is. I mean, it'll be some time before it's all together.
I know. Yeah, I think back to how things were just a few months ago, and it's been some big improvements.
Oh, it's completely different than it was some months ago. When we first hopped on, it was a whole different place.
Yeah, it was really hard to find stuff. I remember there was just the one in Urbit community, one like community notebook, and there would be groups posted in there, but I mean,
It was
wasn't
getting
like
too
now with
heavy.
the links.
It was getting heavy.
Yeah.
But this is the front. This is all your groups are right now. I'll hop into my group that I run, the Eightfold Path. But currently there's chats. There's some people in here smarter than me discussing quantum mechanics today. But you got the chats, and then you have the notebooks, which you can think of this like blog posts. And any you can set it up so only one person can post. So it could be like so it could be your own private one, or it could be a community blog post. But people look at this and then wonder why it's not delivering on all of the big list of promises to replace the internet. Because it's like you said, it's currently at the stage where email was back in the 90s.
Yeah, and then you think, who do you want to have your faith in? These companies that are producing bloatware, or hacker type tech gurus who are trying to simplify and calm down? I'll go with this second.
But you're hosting yourself.
Yeah, but I just mean in terms of the project. You know, you look at what people are doing with the framework of what Urbit's going to be, and people are pushing it really, really quick. So,
Well, there's that. But over the long term, they have the governing systems, and I have read some people who think that there'll be people's own forks of Urbit that you'll want to be under.
I haven't seen that.
I've heard some people discuss it.
As long as you can still communicate between them.
Yeah,
but
that
if
would
it
be
becomes an echo chamber, that's probably not good.
Well, we'll have to see where it all goes in the long run. So we can.
You got to go to the Urbit community, brother. You can't not.
You want me to show off the Urbit community?
Yeah, you have to. I feel like that's a good spot to just see.
We need to give a shout out to Sarpin-Laplux, who's had his message here from the year 2033. That's how futuristic Urbit is.
You still have it? I don't think I have it.
No, it's there for, I don't know, isn't it there for everybody? There was more. Then they fixed it, but he found a loophole to post from 2033 again.
He did it again.
Yeah.
And he did it with his planet, the madman.
Well, he's only helping out, right? He's just showing that it wasn't fixed.
I know.
So there you go. Sarpin-Laplux, you're down in history with this podcast. It's saved forever, your message from the future.
It's going to be really interesting in 2033 when they're trying to figure out what that meant.
Well, this actually reminds me of something being in here. So this is the center. This is where, this is where pretty much everybody starts out. We started out in smol-computers, though, as our comets. But Urbit's the center where everybody is. This is where the index used to be for all the groups. But something to show off is that there's currently 4,358 people in the Urbit community. But that doesn't really tell us the real number of active users yet. How many dead comets is there probably?
Well, I have at least 8.
You have 8? Holy crap, dude. Why'd you have so many?
Well, I was testing mining them for a little bit, and then...
Well, did all of them join Urbit community?
Most of them. They all joined Urcast.
Oh, they did. Well, yeah.
Urcast version 1, though.
So we take this down. There's a lot of dead comments in the group.
Yeah.
In the group list. Then you take out I don't know, there's probably a lot of inactive planets, right?
Definitely.
How many active
it seems
users?
like most Urbit users use it pretty heavily, but I gotta imagine there's a decent percentage of people who set it up, take a look around, and go, for a while and figure they'll come back when it's
Well,
built
we're still at that point where I still recognize a lot of names, going in between the groups.
Oh, yeah.
So how many active users do you think there is? I mean, there isn't 4,000 active users. If we're, I'd be surprised if it's 1,000
Active users? Yeah.
active users who post even once a week. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, probably under 1,000.
It's under a
But
thousand.
I mean, that's so. I was a heavy Twitter user for a long time, and I noticed that anytime you get too big of a community, it's not even worth it. It's better to keep it 1,000. You have 1,000, you recognize people, you recognize their names, what
It's
they
nice.
are.
It definitely gives the feel of the early internet.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, imagine being on YouTube when there was only 1,000 people.
Yeah. Imagine, yeah, being on YouTube with only 1,000 people, but somehow knowing what's coming. I mean,
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying
it just feels different with Urbit. You can see what's going to come eventually. You can
that's a reason I hopped
see
on,
everything there.
though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a good time to hop on when, there isn't 4,000 active users like Urbit community might suggest at first glance. It's far less.
Yeah, it's cozy right now. That's for sure.
So we can discuss. I think we can move on to the updates.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them.
Well, we'll start with this. We'll go over some of the major ones. So I don't know. Minder Folden noticed this first. I didn't even notice it, and it's not mentioned in an update. But admins can now delete user posts in the notebooks in groups. Did you
Yeah,
notice
that's been going on for a little while. I did notice that because having a Chan community, I was sweating, waiting for that.
Well, but it was so calm you never had to, right?
It was. Yeah. But I mean, what is it? Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, or something.
Yeah, I could
Gotta
have.
sweep it up, Jenny.
I know. Well, when we noticed it, I said, "Oh, what? There's actual Giannis on Urbit now."
Exactly. They still nothing in chat though. The chat, there's no sweeping up.
I don't know if that's going to happen because you always save your everybody. That's another thing. When you join a group, you actually download the messages and everything. So if you were to delete Urchan, everybody in Urchan would also have a copy of it still.
Nice.
So Jenny's can't exactly
It's
sweep it
not
up for
mine.
us.
It's yours.
Jenny's can't sweep it up. Not completely.
Can't sweep it up, Jenny.
But
There's
I,
no
I couldn't
Jenny's. Where we're going, there's
I
no
couldn't find
Jenny's.
I couldn't find what update that came in. It was just there.
Yeah, some of these updates are really secret. You don't even notice them. They just come out, and all of a sudden the font looks different, or the size of something's different. The comment linking because they don't announce that they're going to do an update. They just boom, here you go.
Yeah, they're over the air updates. They just come out and your number in the corner changes.
Your hash number
Hash number, yeah.
updates. Yeah, I mean the team at Tlon, it seems like all they do is get landscape functioning. It's good stuff.
There was version 2.46, then 2.47 came only 3 hours later. Well, that was a hotfix for some reason. Some people couldn't post new notes, but they fixed that fast.
Yeah, I mean they fix a lot of stuff fast. I've had for something that's connected nonstop and interfacing with other people from all around the world, there's not a lot of problems. I've had no disconnects, no crashes, no drops, no nothing.
I haven't
Which is
either.
crazy.
No.
I mean, that's absolutely insane to think that you could just set something up and forget about it. And it continues to work. And the high level of what it's doing and the speed to which it's doing more is crazy.
It is crazy.
2021, I guess, we're in the future.
We're already in the future. When somebody
We
somebody's
are.
already somebody's already in
Yeah,
2033.
it's incredulous. The future is so incredulous.
0.48 didn't have much, but 2.49 was what was huge.
Which one was that? 2.49?
That gave us the ability to link to posts.
Ah, yeah, the one that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, that was a big
Okay.
one. And not the biggest in terms of actually using it, because I still, to be honest, use the markdown quoted text where you just do the lesser than symbol.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a better reference and it just looks better. But in terms of what you can do for referencing in another community, I really like that. Sadly, I've been too busy to use it much, but I mean, I imagine that's something I'm going to be using a lot, moving stuff from one community to another.
Uh, it also gave us a thin line around the GUI that wasn't there before.
I don't even think I noticed that. Around,
Most people,
oh, on all the thumbnails?
yeah,
Yeah, that looks nice.
I didn't
See,
I
the
didn't
stuff
notice
that's
it.
simple, sometimes it's so simple what they do, but it really does. It brings it all together.
I forget who pointed that out to me. Someone pointed it out though.
Oh, you know
My
where it really shines? Go to your profile.
go to my profile.
You go to your profile and look at how good it looks.
It does.
Yeah. It like surrounds the picture, brings it all together.
It
Looks
does.
very
Yeah.
nice. And then I don't remember what update they added the group photos, but that is huge.
I'm still waiting for it to display on the landscape, the group photo.
Yeah, that'll be really nice. I know someone did a hack early on to get that working, but I'm assuming that
It was
that's what
only
they're
on
doing.
their own end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on their own end, but I mean, with adding the group photos and having the tiles here, it seems like it's something they're moving towards.
So for a short time though, that update when you went to my channels, this was filled with like a feed of all your groups, and it buried all my personal notebooks. Remember that?
Yes,
That was
the
for a very
chaos that was in there.
that was for a very short time. But
Yeah, it
thankfully that
seems
went
like nothing
away.
much came of that. There were some good ideas that people were talking about. I mean, it would be nice to be able to follow certain notebooks, certain chats, and throw
That
them
should
in there.
that would work good as long as they separate my personal notebooks. They should separate my notebooks from, a group feed like that, from a feed of all your
Yeah, maybe
groups.
like my channels, and then you have like my channels and all channels, and you could go in there, something like that.
Yeah, or it could be my channels and my notebooks. That's fine too.
Yeah,
As long as I could
but
have this separated.
it's nice to see that they're trying new things out
They
and
are,
that
yeah.
they're pedaling back. I mean, all of
I have seen the
it's
devs
good.
discussing that in the Urbit community. So I know they have a plan for a group feed.
Yeah, because right now there's a lot of different options, but it almost always amounts to I just go to the communities that I want to check and I know where I want to check. But if I had one feed of all the different communities I liked, similar to how people use an RSS feed to gather up all their news, but I could use this with just Urbit in general. Oh man, that would be beautiful.
what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought. And then after that, I guess it was 2.53 that fixed that took away that group feed from clogging up the notebooks.
Oh, fixed it.
Yeah. Well, I call it fixed it, but they just have to separate it in the future. And then we have and then I guess we can finish off with some new groups, right?
Yeah, why don't we do some? Well, here, I'll go first. We could do some standout groups because there's some groups that we can't do a podcast and not mention. Come on, brother.
We will update we will update the YouTube description with the links. Though they aren't really
Yeah, we'll have
links.
to throw links in for everything. But there's just groups that I've always used as like my reference for Urbit, where every time I'm going to show someone Urbit, I always reference. So I can't not reference them now. Especially Urbites. I don't know why, but
Oh,
Urbites is
Urbytes
a
is great.
huge standout to me.
I'll go hop into
There
it.
is good content, but the idea is huge. Just cooking. I feel like the early internet, that's what it was. I remember my mom getting on there and getting recipes, and it just feels like that's what's going to bring some normies in. And it super excites me, that project. Just that channel in general, everyone going there, posting their pictures, it kind of brings some of the old internet. And
Oh, it does. I actually made in the cookbook part. I actually made Cass's vegan cranberry blondies.
oh, is that a
Those
drink?
it is it's like a blondie is a brownie that is vanilla.
Oh, what?
You never had one?
I've never had one. I've
You
never
have to
had
get
one.
one. They
Oh
were
my
very
gosh.
tasty, so shout outs to them.
Dang, I'll have to try that.
Daswick-Hasrum is the planet name.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good recipes on there. I
I've
need to
posted some of
post
my
one
own.
myself.
I need to post some more. I haven't posted any in a month. I'll take a next one, but my good friend, who I do know in real life, is the famous Race Raposa. He started up the Christianity group, tocner-lacbes / Christianity. All these will be in the description. I know you were excited for the Christian group.
Super excited. Yeah, there's actually been a lot of different Christian groups, but it seems like they almost always become one specific
Well,
Christianity. I
yeah,
know
well
that there's
the
Portico and that's Catholic, and there was another Catholic group, and then I think there was two
well
Orthodox groups.
Portico is Orthodox.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's Orthodox. I'm not sure what the Catholic group is. I thought for a while that Portico was both, but it's not.
There is a Catholic group. I was in two Catholic groups, but I'm just not Catholic myself. And as much as I'd love to talk to people about Christianity, it's easier if we're just talking about Christianity in general. When it gets into what denomination are you, you know, it can lead to arguments. And
Well, it
so, yeah,
can.
I was super excited to see just a general Christianity group where we could all have some fellowship.
All right, all right. You can
I'll
do
do
your
next.
next group. You'll do next.
Okay.
Who is it?
Yeah, the next one is the other one that I always reference. Just because it has the Urbit memes. It seems like the place where people go. If they create an Urbit meme, they post it in network subject.
Oh, network. Am
So
I in that one?
network subject, I just go in and just go through the Martian meme depository like once a day and see if anyone's posted any new memes. Because like I
Oh, I'm
said,
not.
if
I'm
there's
not in
gonna be an
network
Urbit meme,
subject.
oh, I'll send you the link. It's super
I al-
good. And I
I
mean,
always
there some of
I
them
always
are amazing, but they're all Urbit related. So
oh I thought small computers was the destination for Urbit memes.
no, so I think someone from Small Computers runs this. I think the person from Small Computers that does what is it? Um, Turnkey Urbit,
Oh,
the
oh, hang on, turnkey Urbit. Yeah.
Botter Nindal.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Hey,
think. Oh God, I'm
damn,
gonna feel so dumb
Botter.
if I'm wrong.
I got him right here. Botter Nindel. As soon as you said turn computers, I remembered it.
Or maybe nope. It's Sitful Hatred.
Oh, Sitful Hatred.
I think he's in
What a
Small
name that
Computers
is.
too.
Yeah, I've seen him around.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's certain people where you just like recognize them. Hmm. Now you got me all twisted, turned around. Small
Well, wait.
Computers is the other one I was going to talk about, though. You can't do groups and not talk about small computers.
Oh,
I mean, they kind of represent to me what Urbit is in terms of culture. Just the memes that
well,
dasfeb makes and the Raspberry Pi
well.
side
Small
of it.
computers is the place to be. I was. This is the first place we landed in as comets.
We were witnessed.
We were witnessed by dasfeb, and everything changed.
Hmm. When I think seeing, early on, you would see, I would look at the content on here, and none of it made sense to me. And then when I saw small computers and what they were trying to do with building small computers, super individualized, um, having all sorts of cool tech involved, having the server be so small, it was something that was really exciting and made me want to look more into Urbit. And then the more I would look at small computers because he's helping, or at least the people doing the Bitcoin integration are always in the small computer chat. It feels like a lot of the most exciting projects and the most exciting ideas are coming from small computers.
Yeah, that's you're right. I mean, that has the best tech talk.
It does. Yeah, and there's a few different chats in there too, because there's one for small computing that's specific for small computing. But I go in the turnkey Urbit a lot because I have the Twan account, and they're talking about similar setups.
So another group. This is a new one too. Have you found it the blogodome?
I've seen it, but I don't think I joined.
I'm in here. This is a group for people to blog publicly without having them all be separated into different groups. But that's a general idea is to share blog posts.
Yeah, I know there's a few different really good long form blog groups. So is that one just one general where everyone can go on and post theirs?
Yeah, that's the point of it.
Oh, that's nice.
It started up recently. It has some really nice blog posts. It's just people blogging. I guess if you want to think about it, it's community blogging. People post about their day or whatever.
I had a really good
It's interesting.
captain's journal going on my original planet
Your
that
comet,
I had to
original
lose in my
comet.
breach. So I completely understand.
Yeah, well, it's good to. My blog posts I've posted in different places as well. This one is nimtug/blogodome. It's a fellow Star King
Uh,
hosting that group.
yeah, that's definitely a cool part of the Urbit culture. Anyone who decides to post or a group host on their star. I guess group hosting on your star is a lot more common, but anyone who posts with their star, it's definitely an alpha move.
Yeah, it seems to be considered that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
A couple people have called me out for it.
well, are they comets or what? Planets calling you out? Who doth
Uh,
dare?
it was a few planets. I won't call them out. I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, you don't need to say
It
them
wasn't
by names, but
it wasn't mean spirited anyway.
oh, okay.
What's the is there another group you want to do?
Oh, yes, there is. The last one.
Which one is it?
Cats. Are you in cats?
No, I'm not in cats. I'm more of a dog person.
Oh my gosh. Is there a dogs group?
I not that I've noticed at least.
I think there might be a puppers. I think I remember something about puppers. So I think there is a dog group. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's just the nostalgia in me, but everything that feels early internet, I want to be involved in. So,
Oh,
I mean,
I,
Cats
I
was
just
early internet.
I hopped into Urbit Index to look, and I'm going to shout out this group because this is a big deal to me. There's now a group to talk about e-ink technology.
Oh yeah, I saw that. The Uric.
Yeah, I just noticed it. I'm going to hop on that.
Oh,
Guess
LOLOL. Catholicism is the newest one. Another Catholic
yeah.
group.
Well, there it is. There's the Catholicism group.
Yeah, there's one
I'm,
of
I'm
them.
gonna I'll show people how to join a group. You take the tilde, then the planet or star name slash the group name, then you join it.
And I'm not going to say I join groups solely based on the pictures that they make, but it's definitely a selling point. If you make a nice picture, Advent of Hoon, I'm never going to learn how to program in Hoon, but
Then
I'm
it
going to
will
join it
show
because that looks really
the
cool.
offline. The biggest alphas will do that. Inc. The Inc. group. There's a good chance to show people this too. When you click on a chat or a notebook, you do you do download your own copy of it all. So even if that group goes offline, it will still be there for you to reference in the future. I guess some would argue that that's not super great for privacy. I don't know. I mean, if people want to erase their past, but we've seen so much, in the websites go down forever, and you don't have a copy of it.
Yeah, I mean,
So this is actually good for preservation because the people in that group will have a copy of it.
it's an exchange. I'm willing to exchange whatever bit of privacy that would attain for me with being able to access it in a more seamless manner, both when I want to and when I don't.
Well,
Or sorry, when the website's down and when it's not.
there is an argument to be made about the privacy of that because you can't erase your group from your history, so to speak, from your past of your life. But you can't erase the history of your life anyway.
Well, yes, so you can't delete what you say. So maybe that bothers some people, but you can't erase what you say.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So
Archiving stuff is a big deal to me personally, so I actually love that.
yeah, I do use the archive a little bit, but
Well, there's that now, but there's a lot of websites that are just gone forever from the early internet.
oh yeah, you're saying using archiving to save websites? Yeah, I wish I would have known about that way sooner.
Yeah, well, there wasn't in the distant past, but this is that's why I like this so much because it's better. It's better for preservation. It will always be there, or more likely to be.
Yeah, and I think we've gotten too caught up on what the technology has been, and if we started from square one and said, what do we need from this technology? Just completely erase what we know about the technology. To me, I would put the highest premium, especially, and I'm biased because I use my phone and my work computer and my home computer and I have a tablet. But for me, the highest premium I can put on something is to be able to access it from anywhere and to be able to have control over it. So, Urbit off the charts on those two. So if they're lacking on like some interface that I don't even need, some game that I don't even play, that's fine by me. But as the base of users gets to be bigger, but people are more demanding than me. Some of them.
Well, yeah. Some people want every bit of convenience they can get, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Urbit will hopefully help improve people's perspectives on technology a little bit, but some of it there's only so much you can do. So but the whole simplification, even with the sundial, I feel like It's nice. They did a lot of attention to how you would spend your day interfacing with their tech. You know.
And I guess we can move on to the final thing. Something I noticed is that there's more regional groups popping up on Urbit.
Oh
Like
yeah, the
there
Northwest
is
Washington. Yeah, there's the time zone one as well.
is Northwest Washington, but there's other parts of not just America. I noticed. See, I go through the
I've seen a
directory.
few in Asia as well.
There is some groups for Asia.
Yeah, it's going to
Advent
be interesting to see as
right
more
here.
users start to use
Yeah,
what areas become heavy.
there is now a Nordic group. I noticed that there's a Nordic group. There is oh well, shout out to my friend there, you watryx-nacres / musical-autism-collective. There's Northwest Washington, Queen City, Berlin. These all popped up around the same time too. Oh, there's a group you were talking about, puppers and doggos.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's the time zone one. I feel like the time zone was early on though. Um,
I do
it
remember
was.
seeing that. I do remember
Yeah,
seeing
for
that.
UTC-ish time zones, so London, Berlin, Johannesburg. That one was an early group too. So
So Urbit's starting to expand with those regional groups because if there's enough people that can get into them, there's more users on Urbit. Slowly but
yeah, I've also
surely.
seen them do a couple of city like meets or events. So
Oh well, yeah, there was college meetings, I believe, a while ago. Um, Suppose that about wraps it up.
I
We
think
have
that's
any
good for episode one.
decent? Hopefully, we'll get more. We'll get more organized in the future, and maybe we'll have on some guests.
Yeah, we'll
There
definitely
is
have to bring some guests on.
there is some guests I would like to have on already. I won't call them out by name here, but if anybody wants to come on, you can message either of us
Yeah,
on
just send
Urbit,
us a private message on Urbit. Yes, on Urbit.
not on Telegram or Element or Facebook.
Yes, please. God.
He was getting mad at
Every
me for
time I get a
messaging them.
message on something else, it's like, please do not.
Well,
Don't make me go back.
the day will come when everybody joins up. So
And I can
thank you.
uninstall permanently.
That'll be quite the day.
It will.
Well, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.